Um, we are officially live.
And there was all kind of settings and stuff that I meant to look at first. And this is oh yeah, I remember this is why I wanted to do YouTube because it automatically it automatically saves it.
Yeah, fair.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. So let's see.
Hi, MJ. Good to see you. First in line,
Hey.
as usual.
All right. I'm trying to make sure. Hi, Mieko and Khalees. So many questions I have. Well, we ready for it because we ready. Let me see. Oh no, I did something and I lost the comments. Jen, I can't hear you anymore. Are you talking?
Oh,
Can y'all hear me?
no, no.
Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you.
oh, you know
Hi,
what?
Pam. Hi, Claudius. Hi,
I realized
Mieko.
what it is. Where I'm looking at this is a little behind, and I'm seeing your mouth move, expecting to hear you, but it's stuff that you've already said. Hi, Pam. Hi, Chantel. So we can honestly, get straight into it. This is the first
Hmm.
time back with this. We did what did I do a chat for? I did a chat for House of Takeover. But that
Yes.
was back, man, in like April or something like that. Of damn, that's been almost a year.
It's been almost a year, but we're back, and that's the important part,
Yes,
right? Like we're back.
yes, we're here. We're here. And so, like you said, that's the important part. Um, Hi Tola, hi KG. Um, I completely lost my train of thought, but I'm just do my best to to keep it moving. That happens to me a lot lately, but we just keep pushing forward. Hi Erica. So maybe next time. I was shocked to discover that we never did talk about maybe next time. I think when it came out, I think I did like a live on, I don't know, like Instagram or something like that, I think. And that kind of, I think I kind of had that on my mind. Hey, my favorite sisters. Had that on my mind. And so when you were like, no, we actually haven't talked about Denver and Kansas for, as a book of the month type of thing. I was like, oh, okay, well, they're a good place to start because they're kind of a crowd favorite. Um, Denver and his. Whenever I think of them, the first thing that always comes to mind for me is Denver pulling a gun on old boy, and I just,
How did you know that was my first question? How did you know that that's
I,
like the first question top of my head all at all times when we're thinking about Denver? I need to know. I need to know.
yes, questions about the audiobook are fine as well. And hi, Markel. Or is it Markela? Markel or Markela? Let me know which one of those is correct. I like getting people's names correct. But okay, so about the gun, what's the question? I'm scared. I don't know what you're about to say.
No, no, I'm not. You don't need to be scared. I just have a question, right? So, we know that Denver is, an alpha male of sorts. He is flawed, but he loves his wife. And
Yes.
so when we see that in the very first chapter, that there is a connection still between them. So when we get to this part and he walks in and Kensa is letting this man almost die in front of her, I
Yeah.
think that Denver he warned him. He said,
Yeah.
I told you, stay away from my wife. You're not listening, so let me help you along in the
And
situation. Is that
And
the
Denver
first
is
scene
the
that
kind of
popped into your
man
head for
that you
Denver?
listen to.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Is that the first scene that popped into your head when you were writing Denver? Like, how did this scene come into play for you?
It was not the first scene. The first scene that came to mind for them was that first scene, was that, that opening scene of her um arriving home. And it's actually derived from a different beginning scene that I had written a long, long time ago, and nothing ever happened with it. But it was a woman, just very frustrated with her husband, very, like at the absolute end of her ropes with him. And I didn't end up using any of I didn't end up using any of that, but it kind of gave way to that scene of her, arriving home and in the dark, and he's waiting for her in the dark. And it's like, what would be the impetus of something like that? And then from there, what are the natural next steps? Now that we've met him and we've seen, who he is, the kind of energy he's on where she's concerned, what are kind of the natural next things that would happen? And like in my head, it makes sense that okay, she's gonna try to, well, not even actually, I don't even know that she was trying to make him jealous. I think that because of the dynamic that they had fallen into, you know, she wanted to feel kind of the way he had made her feel at first. When they were first getting together and he was first, all about her and all of that, and they had fallen away from that. And so of course she was seeking that again. But him showing up there was not so strange. Like there was nothing strange about Denver showing up there, and so it kind of, I know I'm the author, but it's almost like, did she know? Like, should she have expected that? Because the way that it ended before was him saying, no, we're going to talk about this. Like the night before, there was this understanding that they were going to talk about. Well, there wasn't an understanding that they were going to talk about it. There was an understanding that he wanted to talk about it. And so it's almost like, should you have expected that? Like, did you know that was going to happen? And even if you knew, even if you weren't expecting him to show up, did you maybe know that it would get back to him? Like that somebody would see something and somebody would say something? I just wonder because Kensa definitely gave Messi a little bit. And look, I'm a married woman too, and I think that you can be a little messy when it comes to your husband. Like that, you've paid your dues for that. That's kind of
Yeah.
your right to be a little messy. But she did put that boy's life at risk, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she had this man's whole life at risk, like on
Yes,
purpose, it
absolutely,
seems.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm looking at the comments. Hi, Selena and Brandy. Kenza loved and really got off on making Denver tick. She made it seem like she didn't want to be chased by him, but she loved every second of it. She absolutely did. She absolutely did. I disagree that she made it seem like she didn't want to be chased by him. She absolutely wanted him to chase her, and he wasn't. And she was like, like, no, I'm trying to get you. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say I was trying to get the comments to pop up. I made it work. I'm so proud of myself. But I absolutely, she wanted that from him, and he wasn't doing it, and that kind of it feeds into what I'm wondering if there was like maybe it wasn't a conscious thing for me, but like if I'm thinking about her as a real person, you know, like yeah, this was absolutely part of it. It's like proving like, okay, if you're not gonna chase me, somebody will. Somebody wanted it. And you might again put this man's life in danger. um let's see, I felt like she just wanted him to really see her again, but I felt she deep down liked that aggressive side of him. Absolutely. absolutely. Because her parents, like, and I mean, not just her parents, their parents, they were. She comes from that. she like that. Like they are similar to like the Whitfield family, where originally they weren't on the right side of the law. Like they did what they had to do, and then with the different generations and kind of passing, being able to pass like that wealth or whatever that they had generated down to the kids, for the kids to be able to go legit, but none of their parents was legit. So, like that's exactly like she was definitely on that type of time. Absolutely on that type of time. Uh the visual of it, yes, absolutely. Hey Marshall. Uh I thought Denver's mindset was that he didn't have to chase her because she was already his. Yes, but I feel like that's very I don't I think Denver was very realistic. Denver was very realistic because yes, this was absolutely his mindset, and though not factually incorrect, it's like clearly your wife is feeling away, and so what's wrong with, or not even necessarily what's wrong with, because yes, there is something wrong with it. You don't want to have to do that, and you shouldn't have to do that. But something somewhere along the way got broken, and why not go that little extra mile? Because clearly, you done pulled out a gun. You know, all everything that came later would not have even been necessary if he had gone, the extra mile a little sooner and chased her like she wanted to be chased. Like,
Yeah.
it could have all looked a little different. But and again, he's not wrong. He is not wrong. He's not wrong. But it's one of those situations of like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Like it's kind of like that thing that I think honestly, comes up a lot in marriage. Like it's like this is random, but I'm gonna go into it anyway. So I was on TikTok the other day, and there was this woman who, like, it was either her husband or her boyfriend, I can't remember which, but he had set up a flower subscription for her where she would get fresh flowers every month. And something happened to make her realize that he had forgotten that this flower subscription even existed. Like he didn't even remember doing it anymore. And so she was like, she kind of felt some type of way about it because it's like initially it was a sweet gesture. And so you get credit for the fact that initially it was a sweet gesture. But at some point, you forgot about it. And so it's like, do you get points for that anymore? Because it's kind of like it's lazy. It's like you're getting points for being thoughtful, but you're not being thoughtful. Like and it's like it's a technicality, like it's kind of petty, but the thing was somebody stitched it. Um, and the person that stitched it was like, this is why nobody wants to be in relationships with y'all anymore. This stuff like this is gonna have y'all single. I don't ever get flowers, and I wish a man would do something like that for me. And just because y'all are in a relationship don't mean he owe you anything. And I was scared. Excuse me? What? Like, I could not disagree more. With someone I've been married for 15 years, and I feel like I owe my husband plenty. I feel like my husband owes me plenty. Like that is like that's an interesting mindset to be in. Like, and not even just from being married, from being in a relationship, in a friendship. Like I feel like there are things that I owe my friends. I feel like there are things that I owe, you know, my neighbors. Like in every relationship, you absolutely owe people something. And it's like, if you're saying that, you love this person and you want to be with them forever, is should you should should you be going through changes, going over the river and through the woods every month? No, something is wrong if it's always, some huge thing. But if something has gotten broken somewhere along the way, yes, you should go the extra mile. Yes, you should chase, even though, well, you should know better. You already know that I have you, but since you need to see it again, let me show it to you. And so again, I don't think that he's necessarily wrong, but I think that things did not have to go as far as they went, and they could have arrived where they are now, or where they were, by the end of the book a lot faster if both of them honestly had done, a bit better with communicating and really, you know, really figuring out where the other person's head was at instead of just kind of running with stuff. Because yeah.
Yeah, and that's facts, right? Kingston said it best. You're really about to lose your wife because you don't know how to listen. Is that really
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Going the extra mile would have worked out for them faster. Yes. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? When everyone wants to be in a relationship where folks get too comfortable, absolutely. I love when Denver asked Kenza if she clearly expressed herself and communicated her needs to him. This is the one. This is the one. Because she hadn't. She hadn't. She hadn't. And I think that, in relationships, and I'm gonna pick for a little moment. Women, we do this a lot. we expect um we expect the mind reading, and like I see this all the time, like in conversations, on social media. Like there's a very big, um if he wanted to he would sentiment, but does he know? To want to, he has to know. And so it's like, if you're not saying anything, it's like there are things that are very baseline, fidelity. That's a baseline thing. Of course, that you're supposed to do that. Like there are kind of standard things that if you're in a relationship, yes, you ought to know. But other like things like, we suffered this loss, and I'm pretending like I'm putting on this facade on the outside, but on the inside I'm dying. And you expect someone who is also hurting and also putting up a facade to see that when you're giving your Oscar worthy performance of being okay, but you're mad at people for not realizing that you're not okay. People, we do this to our friends and stuff too. We do this to friends and stuff too. It's like, yes, there's plenty to be said for noticing and like really seeing the person that you're with, but it's like we have to take responsibility for the mask that we put on with each other. And it's like there's only, I feel like there's only so mad there's like a limit on how mad you can get at people for not seeing past your mask. You know, there has to be some, you know, there has to be some boundary there. Boundary is not the right word, but I think y'all feel me. People have started to really take each other for granted. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yes, communication was an issue for them. Absolutely. Hey, Karen. Let me see. Quincy, I don't know who you are, but no, you cannot tell me a story. But yeah, like there has to be that. almost like you have to be an equal participant in that, in your happiness. It's like you can't depend on, you can't depend on people to automatically know what you need. If you say it and they ignore it, or they, don't even try, like that, that's different. That's different. But sorry, my baby is crying. He is very mad, but and see, I have to verbalize like, hey, baby, like, I know I be looking like I got it. Like, okay, like I'm mommy, I'm super mommy, and I got it. But sometimes I'm only doing that because I know if he sees me sad, he's gonna be sad. And so I'm I'm walking around here looking cool, and I ain't cool. Somebody get him. Let me see. Yes, Kensel was truly going off of read my mind tip, and that's what kind of annoyed me about Kensel in this situation. Yeah, girls, just verbalize your discontent. Yes, yes, and it's like, again, I feel like it's it's kind of understandable for her to want Denver to just see it on his own and be able to pick up on it on his own. Like, it's okay for you to want that, but what's not okay is for you to realize that he doesn't see it and then punish him for not seeing it and then get mad that he doesn't like react to it in the way that you want to. But it's very normal. Like it's so normal. And that was really one of the things that I enjoyed about writing this, because Kenza was not in the right, and Denver was not in the right either. Like we're talking about Kenza, but Denver was not in the right either. Like neither of them were, and it took like that drastic thing for them to like a shock to the system. And now everybody always do that. Like I cannot truly snap my fingers at all, but hopefully it looks good on camera. Okay, so yeah. Ah, show off. Um, but yeah, it's like that they needed that shock to the system to really understand, like, okay, we both need to do something different. Like we gotta get it right. Right after the laws didn't hint to go head first into business. If I remember correctly, I think they both did. I think they both did. I think that was both of their coping mechanism, which again, normal, but also this is something I remember from therapy. Like my therapist talked about how like so many people, it's like you try to it's like you try to get away from your feelings so fast because of course you want to be passive, you don't want to feel like that, but you just you're just making it take longer. Like if you just went through it instead of trying to mask it, or instead of trying to bury it, or instead of trying to keep yourself too busy to think about it, like a lot of stuff that we like that just has us like so buried, it would be over and through so much faster if we would just be real sad for a few days. Like I like yes, we have jobs, we have families, we have relationships, we have our other things that we need to do, and that's why we bury it. But it's like if we just had the freedom to just be fucking sad for for a few days and just think through it and process it and cry about it and vent about it and like just feel it. We really need an overhaul on just everything. Accountability for your happiness is on you. I feel like Kensa sort of rushed into filing for a divorce because she didn't communicate and Denver wasn't reading her mind. I feel two ways about that. I feel two ways about that. I don't think that she should have filed for divorce. I think she should have talked to her husband. I absolutely think that. But I do think she was signaling. She wasn't stating it outright. She was signaling that she needed him to see her and that he wasn't seeing her. And his response was that I'm not gonna chase you. And so she was like, cool, 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 cool. And so I think it was, I really hate to say this, but I think it was necessary for them to be able to get past it. Like obviously neither one of them wanted to be divorced, but I think that just the potential of it, like the reality of what could have been, I think that was enough to, like, oh shoot, wait a minute, like this is getting really for real. um I don't think she rushed for a divorce. She only did that. Yeah, like that was kind of after, and like again, she wasn't right. Like, I do not want to make it seem like I think she was right for doing it because I don't think she was right. But it was, there she had a catalyst. I'll give her. She ate that one little thing. Both of them were wrong in so many ways. Yes, the miscommunication trope is one of my least favorite, but the way you put a spin on it and the story was completely engaging. I hate it too. I hate it so much. I hated that. I don't like writing about married couples. And so this was very hellish. This was hellish for me to write. But once I once I was in it and I was able to get them to like that place where they're one on one. It's just them, no distractions. Like, we got to get through it. Like, that's when I was able to really enjoy it. With that said, I did really enjoy the kidnapping scene and the plane scene, and I did really enjoy writing him pulling that.
I just want to say, I was like, when they traveled together, he kidnapped that girl.
Yes,
He kidnapped her
yes, he definitely did.
with the
Her
help of
intentions
her
were
friends
not
and family.
exactly. It's like, I see me personally. I would have had some more choice words for them. But they're triplets. They have their dynamic. So, um, her intentions were not to get a divorce. I saw it more as a cry for his attention. Absolutely. They were both wrong. They suffered a great loss and they shut down and weren't able to get past it. Absolutely. She wasn't right, but she wasn't all wrong. That yes. Both of them. Like, they weren't right. Like, kidnapping, it wasn't right, but it worked. Pulling a gun. It wasn't right, but was he wrong? I can't say for sure that he was wrong. Um, yeah, Kansas sending the divorce papers to his job was kidnapping. You know what?
No, I'm gonna pick up for Kensa real quick. She didn't know when the papers were going to be delivered. She
No,
was
she
not told of
absolutely
that.
she absolutely did that on purpose. She absolutely did.
Don't do. She didn't know. Okay, she didn't know when they were going to be delivered. Why are
No,
you doing my girl like that? She didn't
no,
know.
she
I'm
and
sticking to
she
that
knew and
story.
she ate that. um, you're writing about married couples is needed. Sometimes the things you write about can be an eye opener for someone. You give a different perspective on things. Yeah, like it was. I've always said that I don't like writing about married couples because I am married. And the reason that I say that is when I'm writing any project where if there's any type of if it's anything more than just like the fun projects where it's like, maybe there's like a meet cute and, a couple of little back and forths, like very, the cute stuff. Anytime it's not the cute stuff, like I'm I'm getting in a certain mental state or in a certain mental space with my characters. And I do not want to be in the mental space of a marriage in trouble. Like I just don't, you know, I don't want that because I've been in certain other places with characters before and it affects me like for real, like in real life. And that was just a space that I did not want to be in. I realized later that I was suffering from something called PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. If you PSA, if you have like really like really severe mood swings attached to your cycle. If you've watched that last season of Stranger Things, how when Vecna would affect people and they would hear like all this negative weird stuff in your head, if that felt familiar to you at all and you notice that it's connected to your period, talk to your doctor about something called PMDD. And the way that mine is managed is through supplements in my vitamin. Look up in my vitamin in my daily multivitamins. Look up chased fruit extract and ashwagandha, etc., etc., etc. Also walking, or not necessarily walking in specific, but exercise. Doesn't have to be anything heavy, but exercise, vitamin D, etc., etc., etc. I'm not a medical professional, but I do know that many people suffer from this. And so, if that sounds familiar at all to you, talk to your doctor or your herbalist or whoever you seek that type of advice from. But back to the point. What was I even talking about? Oh, so writing married people.
Marriage in
Oh,
trouble, health disclaimer about PMDD. They go together somehow.
it does because there were times that I was like, look, there were times that I almost blew up my own marriage because of stuff that was not real that was happening in my head because of PMDD. So yeah, so yeah, like with that going on, it's like I didn't need any additional, any extra. It wasn't fair to me, and it wasn't fair to him. Like it's not fair. I truly believe myself to have a very good man. And it just wasn't fair to him for me to be walking around pissed off at something somebody and something some fictional woman's husband did. It's just not fair. But centering us back on the point, um, the characters are who they are. And when they come through, it's like you kind of just gotta go with the flow. Or I can't speak for anyone else. I have to go with the flow, or I'll be no writing will happen because like I literally would not be able to. Um, Let me see.
I have a
The
question
story
for
only
you.
work. Okay.
I have a question. Okay. So, what did it feel like writing this series in the pandemic? I mean, it came out in 2021. So, you were writing this from the end of 2020 into 2021. What was it like
Yeah.
writing this series in the Panini? Like, in that
Um.
things are opening up, but it was still kind of locked down?
Yeah. Well, no, these were early. I feel like these were kind of early. No, 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 no. Clark Brothers was that first one. Was that first 3 book series that I wrote? So yeah, Vegas Nights were. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Um, I think I wanted to do something just very different. I think because, we've been stuck inside and I like the series was supposed to be fun. Like it was supposed to be fun. And so when I wrote that first scene, I didn't know, you know, why the marriage had broken up. I didn't know, that there was like the traumatic, thing that had happened with them, I thought, like, oh yeah, yes, this marriage in trouble, and we're gonna bring it back. And I already knew what the other, I kind of loosely knew what the other books in the series were gonna be. Like I knew we were gonna get Brandon or Blue. I knew we were gonna get him. I knew we were gonna have, you know, uh, there's a story, and I thought that I was gonna have fun. Thought I was gonna get to have fun. Like I said, it was about halfway through before I was able to have fun with Denver and Kensa, but it, I don't know. I actually don't know how to, I've realized I don't actually know how to answer that question.
That's okay. That's okay. I have so that's okay. Listen, I have other questions. We have other questions. People have questions in the chat too. There's a question about the audiobooks. I'm going to save the audiobook one just a little bit to a little bit later, just because
Okay.
I want to talk about Sharif Stevens specifically once we get to that point. But I do want to ask about what made you want to tip your toes into Vegas. Is it because you wanted that fun kind of series and Vegas was the place for that kind of fun?
Yes, absolutely. Because, Blue and all of them, like I knew another series that I thought I was going to have fun with. The Predators Motorcycle Club series was supposed to be fun. Um, but I knew I wanted to do that, and I knew that that had to happen in Vegas. Just there was nowhere else that would have worked for, like, in my head. There was nowhere else that would have worked, and so I felt like I wasn't doing enough with Vegas because everything that, like, it's always so like, I'm sorry. The kids were playing with the baby and there was screaming happening. Um, it's always just so dark and moody in Vegas because everything else, before that was, Anti Up. This is wild. And then yes, we had I think Unbroken Rose and The Rose That Got Away. I think those happened before Vegas Nights did. But even those, like those are kind of, heavy. Like maybe not The Rose That Got Away, but Unbroken Rose definitely has some heaviness to it. And so initially, I was supposed to be writing something fun. Like okay, like yes, we've seen the assassins and all of that in Vegas, but what about like the other people, like the normal people in Vegas? And I still ended up writing about it. Like somehow, still ended up there. Eventually, the idea is that I'm going to come back to the Predators Motorcycle Club to write, I guess, like a spin-off series or something like that that really will actually have the vibe that I was supposed to have at first. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
See, and that was my other question. I'm like, since you were thinking about the Predators, are we going to go back to this part of Vegas at all? Are we going back to the Predators anytime soon?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Soon. Soon. I can't say soon. I can't say soon. My brain is other places, I think, for the year. Um, I've got the Connecticut Kings book going. And then, in Patreon, we've got Portia and Jamar going. Um, I want to write another Blackwood Billions book, and I want to write Lark's book. Um, I do think that I'll probably have some novellas or something mixed in there. I don't I don't know that it'll be Predators though. Like Predators is it's just not it's I can't say that it's on my mind. But it would be cool. I think it would have been cool. Um let me see. I'm scrolling through the comments now again and so I can't believe I'm saying this, but he was right at kidnapping her to save their marriage. You might be on to something. Uh let me see. Let them flow. They write their own story when they come to you. You just add words to it. Yeah. I think Vegas brings out your grittier side. I would agree. I would agree. And I think that's probably why Vegas is not on my mind this year because I feel like I feel like I've been a little too on stuff that is not my core. Like in the beginning of my career, like I stepped off a bit to do like what was it? Haunted and the If You Can series, but for the most part, I was very much, lover girl romance. Like I was very much, contemporary romance. And I found myself missing that. Like I found myself really, really missing that. And even Hostile Takeover, like Hostile Takeover, there's not really anything lovey dovey about that book. Like even once they're together, even once they actually love each other, like they're so um like it's like they're too cool for that. Like they're not warm and fuzzy. And I feel like I need to, just for me, I feel like I need to be like on my warm and fuzzy this year is kind of, where I want to be with that. So I think that's probably why Vegas is not really on my mind this year.
Oh, I see a good question in the chat. Will Chloe get her
Yeah.
story?
Chloe, we might see Chloe in the vault. We might see Chloe as one of the vault stories over on Patreon. I don't, at this point, I don't know what I have for her. I don't know what I have for her, especially because again, it's another story where they're already married. She held her man down while he was in prison, and now he's back. And I feel I'm not saying that I don't think there's a story there. I'm saying that I don't know that for me there's a whole book worth of story there. But we might we might peek at them. We might peek at them like that. I could really see that. Um, let me see the audiobook. Listen, I rant and rave behind those audiobooks. How did you choose the cast? I did not choose the cast at all. I hit up Wesley, who has a production company, Wesley Siobhan Production, and I said, "Hey sis, I want to do something different. I want to, I knew I wanted full cast narration because, like, I just thought that was just the coolest thing in the world." And I put it all in her hands. Like they sent me auditions and stuff like that. And I was like, I just tell me when to pay the invoice because I was pregnant. Was I pregnant? I
Yeah,
think I was pregnant.
you
Yeah,
were.
I think I was pregnant, and I just did not. I just did not have it. But she saw the vision. She saw the vision, and I have to tell y'all, I got to like listen in on one of the recording sessions, and I left. I left because they were recording that very first scene. They're recording that very first scene, and I was like, I'm not old enough for this. I need an adult. And so I was like, mm-mm. I left, but they absolutely did their thing. Like they absolutely. I am not an audiobook girly. Like it's not my, it's not my thing. Like as a reader, it's just not. That's just not my vibe. But even I was like, I listened to every. I listened to front to back. I listened to all of it because I was that enthralled, and I had the idea for the little interstitials, the skits in between. And I know that's polarizing. I know it's polarizing, but I loved it. I thought it was so cute, and it was something that I knew I wanted to do. And so I was, oh, I was so sick writing those skits in between. I was so sick, but I somehow, some way, I managed to pull it off, in order to get those in for them to actually record them. And like I cannot speak highly enough of Wesley and Natalia, her team behind Wesley Shrine production because I really did not have to do anything. I did not have to do anything except say, what I had in mind, and they completely brought the vision to life. And I cannot wait to this is just a little sneak peek that nobody's supposed to know about yet, but all of my patrons, so of course you get to hear it first. I actually have on the docket to have the Love Sisters re-recorded as a full cast audio experience, and I am just like, yeah, like, can you imagine? Can you imagine that as full cast like that? That is going to it's gonna eat, and I'm excited. I'm excited to hear it, but it won't be until like later in spring. Um, or yeah, spring. When does spring start? Spring starts in March. Goes from March to what? June, like mid June, something like that.
June, yeah.
So
Yeah, mid-June.
yeah, yeah, spring for that. Vegas is our second favorite city. What's first? I love the warm and fuzzy era. I love the series, the Kings. Yes. Sharice Stevens, he did. So listen. Excuse me. I'm afraid that he's one and done. I don't know if we're going to get him back for anything. I don't. I need to hit Wesley up about that because she like she knows him in real life or whatever. Like he's not just like a random person. Like she actually knows him, and he's an actor. And this was like something new for him. I don't know. I think maybe he didn't enjoy the process or something, or he's just not into it, or I don't know. But I'm like, can we tell him that I'll like give him a bonus or something? Because he did his big one. He did his big one. Like, and I love that when you have the narrators who are actors, you feel the difference. You feel the difference, and that's no shade to the narrators who are trained specifically as audiobook narrators. Like that's no shade. I still think they do a fabulous job as well, but I feel like you can feel the difference with the ones who are actors or were actors previously. I think that they are able to pick up on the inflections and they pick up on the emotions and like I yeah. Yeah. I love the full cast narration. It's like it draws me in more to the story. I read the books and listen to the audiobooks. It's everything. Yeah, that full cast narration, I feel like it helps kind of bridge the gap. It's like it brings us a little bit closer to what a full visual would be, meaning, being able to see it on your screen. I feel like it brings us just one more little step closer. Uh, what would make a fun, like a fun, lighthearted novella? Natalie and Cal. We might get a little peek at them when I make it to Lark's story. If you don't know, Natalie and Cal. Natalie is Karis's friend from Equivalent Exchange, and Cal was he a law student? He was some kind of student. I don't remember if I made clear what kind of student, but a grad student, not like a high school student. He was like a grad student who was Lakin's kind of assistant, and he worked the bar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Natalie was she was on him. uh, Let me see. Uh, Stage actors, yes. I'm very excited for the Love Sisters. I'm excited for the Love Sisters too. Like, I really think that is going to. I I I think that's gonna hit. And I went back and forth about it because it's like I've already paid for it once, but it was my very first project that I went through the production and all of that myself. Um, I will say that I never felt that the audiobook for that series was as strong as it could have been. Um, and so I feel like it's almost like, the repackaging that I've done with anything else, where it's like I send it back to the editor, or I, do fresh covers for them, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like this is a very similar thing. Um, and besides that, like I just think it would be, you know, if I thinking about any other project to put in full cast narration, I think it would be cool to have a comedic project, with that full cast narration. It's like everybody goes for the dramatic, which works. Like, don't get me wrong, like it is. But I think that doing it with a comedic series, like I think that would be just a whole other level. Um, I was about to say something else and like completely lost it. Completely lost my thoughts. Oh, questions.
Yeah.
When will we get the third novella on the blacks? That is one of the novellas that I want to do this year. I definitely want to do Paris and what is that child's name?
I
I
literally
can't
just said dildo girl in my head, so I don't know.
I can't pull her name to mind right now, but yes, I definitely want to get to them. I definitely want to get to them this year. Sharif. I've been asking is he like, dude, I'm you know what, I might text Wesley like, hey, but I don't even know what I don't know what I would maybe for the second Blackwood Billions book, if we could get them back, maybe for that. Um I can't wait for Lark Story.
River.
So funny story. River, yeah. Because they were calling her Reeve. Um I can't wait for Lark Story. I had actually started writing a Lark Story. Lark Story is started, and I put it down because of the subject matter. Um, it was personally triggering for me. I don't know that it would be, I will put, I try to make to be mindful of putting the trigger warnings and stuff on everything, but I think she's going to go through a somewhat unique experience. Well, not, I won't call it unique. It's an experience that not a lot of people go through, and it's not as well known as I would hope it to be. I think it's going to be more well known here soon because there are like some medical advancements that have recently been made. I don't want to say too much. Like I'm trying to talk around it so that I don't say too much. But I'm hoping that I'm psychologically sound enough to write her story, to finish it this year and to get back to it. Um, I've wanted him to do so many books, like especially the Arthur Basil books. He would have body that's mirror. Ezra, Ezra. I don't disagree with you about Esmir. I don't disagree with you about Esmir. But if if we had to like pick one, like come out the box on us and just do one, I would pick Ezra. I love that you put in all your work in audio and that you step outside the box and look for your products and you in interesting ways. You're a trailblazer and we love it. Like I really like I want to see us in all these different avenues that I know are available, that I know are possible. And I want to try stuff that, you know, it's like I see people in other industries even doing this. It's like we could be doing this too. Like this is cool. People love it. And we could be doing this way too. Why aren't we? And I know that it's because it hasn't been done before or we haven't seen anybody do it on like a major scale. And I think that like I used to claim that I was risk averse. Like I used to say that a lot. And then my husband was like, you're not. He was like you are with some things, but when it comes to this, like this publishing thing and like I'm not that risk averse. Like I am not afraid to try some stuff and fail at it. Like, I'm not afraid to, do something different than other people are doing it. I actually prefer that to my detriment sometimes. I prefer that. Um, but I feel like we're only cracking the surface of what publishing can look like, for one, of what, delivery of, these stories can look like. And not just publishing as a whole, but especially like the Black romance community. I feel like there is so much like just undiscovered fun that we could be having. And I'm like, we gonna figure it out. Like, let's do it. Let's do it. Uh Your pen is amazing, but ma'am, you and your vampire bag make me want to throw everything I have at you. You ate down. Thank you. That is such a lovely compliment. And what's crazy is I I always feel like, am I getting this right? And Jen can attest to this, that I would be like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. But then I'll be like, but wait, actually, it's paranormal. I can do whatever I want to
Correct. You can build your own universe.
do. Yeah, it's like I can do whatever I want to do. Like, I can build out the lore, and I can, but that's the problem with paranormal as well. You can do whatever you want to do, and not having those boundaries is scary and dangerous because it's like you don't know when you're jumping out the window. Like, you don't know when you're pushing it too far. You don't know when you're doing too much. You just don't know. And so that's kind of a difficult part of it. And then specifically with the blacks, they're novellas. And so there is kind of like the lore is a lot more developed in my head than whatever ends up happening on the page, because I'm trying to keep focused on the story instead of like dumping a lot of, you know, like backstory. I have the backstory, it's in my head, but it's like, does it actually serve the story? No. Do I think that there are readers who would love for it to be there anyway? Absolutely. Absolutely. But because I'm trying to still, like there's kind of rules that you're supposed to follow with storytelling. And so it's like, Christina, this is called info dumping. It's what you're doing right now. And you got to stop it. And so sometimes, stuff comes out. But I would eventually like to write like a full full story about vampires. It probably would not be specifically about the blacks. I think it would be more interesting to write more about, quote unquote, the normal vampires, more like the people from Until the Sun Comes Up than the blacks, because the blacks, they're like they're like vampire royalty or whatever, so they're a little like different. I think it would be more interesting to go for the more normal normal vampires. Like, what? um I love and own all of the audiobooks out, and I think Prior Fear is my absolute favorite narration. Behind the Scenes is really good too. Would love Haunted. Now, why would you do this to me?
Stop giving her
why would you,
ideas.
why would you do this? Mm. Oh. Mm. Okay, that's going in my mental Rolodex. Re-listening to the Love Sisters as well, and I disagree with Ezra. I love you, Paranormal, another genre piece of work. I was hesitant to read Wonder and listen to it and loved it. So Wonder, I don't think we really did anything about it, but I think Wonder, no, you posted about it. You posted about it on my socials. I think that Wonder had like its anniversary or something like that. Wonder was another one of those projects where it's like, okay, you can do what you want, but like that opens up a lot. It opens up a lot, and I do eventually want to get back to kind of that universe, I guess. Um, is how we'll reference that to do the other fairy tale retellings because I set up at least two more. Like I set up Sula. I set up three more. I set up three more. Like there's a Little Mermaid retelling that was set up, a Beauty and the Beast retelling that was set up, and a Cinderella retelling that was set up, all in Wonder. And I'll be happy to eventually, like it's just honestly, none of that is on my mind right now. But it stays, it's in there. It's not at the forefront of my mind. It's more accurate. It's in there though, and so I'll be glad to be able to go back to that. You ever thought about including AI visuals along with the narration? Um, I'm so caught up in all of your books. Like the only football team I was about to call that Facebook. The only football team I recognize is Connecticut Kings, and I'm trying to move to the Heights. So I hate AI. I hate AI as a creative medium. I think that there are many ethical uses of artificial intelligence. There have been like some amazing advancements in technology, in medicine, et cetera, using artificial intelligence. I think that it's cool for, workflows and, you know, coding. Sometimes, like, there's great uses of AI. I do not think that imagery or narration is one of the ones that I'm seeing more recently. I do not find them to be ethical uses of AI, especially for authors. I think that I think that it would be quite hypocritical of us to be bothered by things like plagiarism, for example, and then turn around and use AI imagery where we have no way to know for certain that that imagery is not without permit is not using content from artists without their permission. It borrows from artists, it borrows from photographers, videographers, voice actors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, without their permission. There are a lot of companies who, they're feeding this stuff into databases, and then, the end user doesn't know that they don't have permission for any of this. And I'm not going to get on a soapbox. I'm not going to get on a soapbox about it, but I will, I, will- I will never, well, I won't say never. If and only if there becomes some way to ethically use it where it is only using things that it has permission, paid consent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, from the artists that it's pulling from to create their imagery, yes, I would consider using it. As it stands now, I will not use AI for anything. Even even though I'm thinking about searching for stock imagery, like going to one of my favorite stock sites and typing in what I was looking for, and being shocked because I'm like, man, I never get like exactly what I was looking for like that. Like this is perfect. And then I look a little closer and I'm like, this is a little too perfect. Why is this so perfect? And I realized that AI has been integrated into the stock photo site that I'm using where I've gone to this stock photo site to, pay a photographer for use of their imagery, and you're feeding me AI. Like, what? Um so yeah, like I don't think that authors have any business using AI in that manner. Um but I think that a lot of people just don't know that or understand that about it. Um, but yeah, I think that like people using it for like fun on TikTok and all of that. Like I don't love it, but I don't think there's necessarily any harm in it. But using it to make profit, like I no, no, I can't. And you did not ask me for any of that. You didn't ask me for any of that. I am so sorry. um, Plans for Paranormal Werewolves. So speaking of TikTok, I was on TikTok one day and there was like, I think it's like this site that does like short films or short movies or something like that. And I actually shared it like on Twitter and I reposted it on TikTok when I ran across it. But it was like wolf shifters and they were black. And I was like, oh, like this might be a little vibe. I've got to research some more on shifters, but I'm not I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm still claiming Wonder is going to Broadway. So I'm not saying that it is or isn't, but I will say that it has a Discovery deal. And so we'll see what might happen with Wonder. Um, Maybe you should practice another one universe. I would love to. I have the one the ebook, physical book, and I believe for the audio books. Thank you so much. You can write a story about a girl falling in love with the moon, and I was still throwing money at you. So this is funny because because moon werewolves like we could make that connection happen. Like, don't get me started. So what if we got a separate vampire lore book of sorts, history, family trees, character art? I would personally have my credit card ready and waiting. I want to do something like that, not about vampires. I want to do something like that for like the Heights and like the Blackwood, um, all of that area because the Heights, Blackwood, and Sugar Valley all have, and then Blakewood as well, they all have this shared history, and I have this idea like in the back of my mind of the historian that I introduced in Prior Fair. I can't call her name to mind, but I introduced the historian in Prior Fair, and like in my head, it would be like a book that she wrote, like about all the history and everything with that. And I just it's staying in the back of my mind. um Let me see, CCJ audio in and out. You know what? I wonder if I keep almost losing my earbud, and I'm actually gonna slide this over so I can try to plug. Oh no, it's on the other side. I'm gonna try to plug in my charger. Um, I keep touching my earbud, and so that is probably me. I'm so sorry.
Her name is
uh,
Colette, by the way, the historian, Colette.
Colette. Yeah, I wanted to call her Celeste, but I knew Celeste wasn't. I knew it wasn't Celeste. Uh, Let me see. Yeah, the virtual AI voice. No, that I will call Wesley and see, like, hey, sis, you got some new narrators that we can use. And that was one of the other, like, going back to that, that was one of the things that I love. Like, there are so many different voices. Like, the cast list for those books is long. And so we were able to kind of, work with some new people, introduce some new people, and, kind of pick back up with them again. And we gonna see, like, I'm, I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm already thinking about who we could use for each person for that Love Sisters series. Like who could be Caden? Like I don't even know if I don't know if I've heard Caden yet. Because he'd have to be somebody funny, right? Like I think that I have not heard enough of the narrators um do funny, you know, in order to be able to understand. I absolutely think that I would probably want Wesley as either Jacqueline or Gemma. Maybe Gemma, yeah, because she has that, she has that kind of sultry quality that I think would work well for Jim. I mean, obviously we all know that Wesley could do anybody. Like she would do anybody
Yeah.
justice. But I'm thinking, between the three sisters, I think we would use her for Gemma. And I gotta see what Ebony Flowers is talking about because she's another one that like she went back to Broadway for a little bit, but I think she's coming back. I think she's coming back to narration a little bit. Emmanuel Ingram is my favorite. I don't know if we're gonna get Manny back. I don't know if we're gonna get Manny back. I would love to have him back, but I think I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for him. We haven't been able to get Manny. I'll say it like that. I would love to have him back. I'd love to have him back though. If you're able, would you please tell Emmanuel Ingram that we miss him in 60J audiobooks? Although I love Winston too. Winston, this is a good sign. This is really good people. Like
Oh, hold on. You moved the earbud again, so it's muffled for a second.
oh my goodness. Can you guys hear me? Can
Yes,
you hear
now
me?
you're good. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Like I can't. It doesn't feel right if I stick it where it's supposed to be, but because it's not where it's supposed to be, it keeps it keeps almost sliding out. But that was a good side about Winston. Like very committed to the craft and just genuinely cool dude. Him. Who else? Like I'm thinking of people who I've actually been able to like directly talk to. But him, Malik, not Malik, Miles, uh, well, I'm off on a tangent. I'm off on a tangent, but these people like as you get to know them and kind of see how dedicated they are to their craft and wanting to learn and wanting to grow and wanting to keep getting that experience and just et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's so easy to hire these people. Like it's so easy to be like, yes, I absolutely want to work with you again. Like I no question. No question at all. Um and I just realized how far off the topic of maybe next time we are. But that's fine. That's fine. We have had a good time. And we are actually over time. I just realized that we are 12 minutes over time. Not that that's a big deal. Always. If you've ever been to one of these lives before, you know that I can talk for 3 hours. And have I don't know if I've ever gone for 3 hours before, but I will definitely gab for for a long time. But I am pretty sure my baby is probably wondering where mommy is, and so we're gonna cap it at an hour and 30. Well, no, 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 we're not. Are there any other questions before before we go? Um, may I ask you a question about your writing? What software do you use for writing? Word, Docs, or Scrivener? So, I am a Microsoft Word girly. I like the I actually don't even know why I like Word. It's just what I'm used to. I really think that it's just what I'm used to. I was very heavily a Google Docs user for a while, and then they did something. What did they do? I can't remember what they did. They changed something a few years ago, and that sent me to Word. And I've been in Word ever since. But Docs has corrected. No, I know. I know what it is. They didn't change anything. I started paying for Word. Like I started paying for Microsoft. It was like, oh no, I'm about to use this because I started paying for it. And like it came as part of like a suite of products. And that's what happened. So you see me, I was about to hate on Google Docs, and it wasn't even Google Docs didn't even do anything. They did change something. They did change something, and I did not like that they changed it, but it wasn't really on them. I do use Google Docs sometimes when I'm dictating. Like my dictation goes in there, and then I pull it from there into Microsoft Word to edit it and clean it up because when you dictate, It's a little better than gibberish now because I started instead of direct dictation, I started recording and then transcribing. And so it's like it's a lot better. But what is so hilarious is that I didn't realize of how much in the recording my TV was picking up. And so I'll be, I'm looking at my words after, and I'm like, why is there moo moo goes the cow in here? Like, what in the hell? And then I listen back to the recording, and I realized that Miss Rachel is all up and through my my recording, and I didn't realize that it was picking up so much. Like it did still pick up everything that I was saying. Like it didn't, you know, it kept all of the words that I was saying too, but I had to edit out, can you say mama? Like, there's so many spots in that. And so I realized, like, okay, you gotta turn TV down a little bit while you're doing this. But yeah, that was my very long answer to the question. Yes, I use Microsoft Word. I do not use Scrivener. I downloaded Scrivener like kind of like years and years ago, but it was too much of a learning curve for me. Like I like anything new that I do, it would have to be like hit the ground running in order for me to stick with it. Scrivener, I think is very cool. Like I think it is an incredibly cool product, but I think that if you are ready to start writing, I don't think you should use Scrivener. I think that you should start with Scrivener when you're either in between projects or you're not ready to start writing yet so that you can learn how to use it. Like you can kind of, I'm going to stop talking while I do that, but you can kind of learn how to use it. You can, learn the layout and kind of understand what the workflow and everything is. And then once you know that, when you are ready to start writing and you come to it, it'll be, you'll know what you're doing and you'll be able to get into a good flow with it. Um, let me see. Yeah, Rachel was all up and through that. I would love to hear more about your process in a future live or a Q&A. I can definitely do something like that. I've been thinking about doing another Q&A session for Momentum Shift. I did that once. Was it last year or the year before? It definitely wasn't last year. Yeah, I was gonna say, I know for a fact it wasn't last year because I was pregnant and then dealing with a divorce, so I know it wasn't last year. But that was actually really, really cool. And so what I did was I had people submit questions beforehand so that I could know, I already had my questions, in front of me, and I could kind of, hit it in a more prepared way. And then at the end, there was like a space for questions again, but then it was like wrapped in kind of the momentum shift packaging or whatever. It's been on my mind to do something like that again, um, soonish, and we'll see. I tried Scrivener and I just cannot write directly into it. I hate to have to learn stuff. Yeah, I'm um I shouldn't make this joke, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm an old bitch. I don't need no new tricks. Like an old dog learning new tricks. See, that's my brain. It's all over the place. Um, Thank you so much for answering my question. That was so helpful. I'm leaving Scrivener alone and finishing the writing instead. Yeah, whatever keeps you moving is what I always, like to say. Whatever keeps you moving. If you are writing a project and you're stuck, like you're stuck, like for real stuck, write something else. Like whatever keeps you moving forward, that's whatever that looks like. If it keeps you moving forward, that's what you do. Do you have any videos about your marketing strategy? I'm an introvert who just wants to write. I'm not interested in social media. So I don't know that my honest answer is that I don't know if I have a marketing strategy, but I actually don't think that that's accurate. I don't think that that's accurate. I do have videos on my channel that kind of talk about ways that you can market, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But with that said, I think that in 2024, I think that I think that social media marketing is necessary in 2024. I don't think that you necessarily have to be. I don't think that you have to be the brand. Like I'm saying that I don't think that you necessarily have to show up on TikTok or Instagram or do live chats, or I don't know that that's true. But um, if social media doesn't know about your book, nobody knows about your book, is what I truly believe, in 2024. It's very hard to get traction without any type of anybody talking about your book on social media. I don't think that you, as the author, necessarily have to have the strongest social media presence, but somebody is going to have to talk about your book on social media. And initially, that somebody is probably going to have to be you to some degree. And then, as readers pick you up and learn about you and enjoy your work, they're going to talk about it. And that word of mouth marketing is absolutely there is no better marketing than word of mouth marketing. And the way that you get that is by just writing, the best possible book that you can write. And so you're gonna have to do a bit of social media. You're gonna have to do at least a bit of social media in order to, gain the audience and get the traction. And then from there, you probably won't have to do quite as much. Um, will you be in Nashville? Probably not. I wanted to. I wanted to. I'm assuming that you're talking about One Love Reunion. I wanted to, but I don't think I'm ready to leave my baby yet. I don't think I'm going to be ready quite yet to to do that. Um, because that's in what it's in the summer. It's the summer, I believe. And I don't, as of right now, I don't think I'm signing this year. Not at any, not at any events. I might do like a virtual signing or something like that. I think would be really cool. But as of now, I don't think I'm traveling this year. Uh, Absolutely. You're very welcome. Um, I'm scrolling back through to make sure that I did not miss anything. Oh, hey Kim. When will a mutually beneficial arrangement be available on Audible? On Audible, I am not sure, but it is on our calendar for release on February 14th on my site. Um, and then from there, I usually do like a month or two on my site. We'll probably do like a month. And so probably sometime in March, probably. If not March, April, spring. I know. I sound like she about to charade. Spring,
Spring.
summer. But yes, it will be available, to get through my site through Book Funnel. Valentine's Day is when it is on the calendar for. But as far as Audible, we're looking at spring. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to think. We haven't decided yet what book is going to be next. If you have a suggestion, be sure to drop it. We do have, of course, books that we've already done, but and maybe maybe next time, now that we're kind of getting back into practice, we will be a little more robust. Jen was prepared. I was not.
Okay, so
I was
let me
not.
tell you about this preparation, right? I forgot the live was happening tonight. And it's my job to know these things. I forgot. And so literally I look at the time and I'm like, there's something that's happening today. What is it? It's not even on my calendar, right? So I pop over into Patreon and I'm like, shit, the live is very soon. And I have not reread the book to prepare all these nice questions and have everything going. So really, the questions that I asked were from my memory, and we should all be proud of me for that because CCJ knows that memory
And we
sucks.
are. And we absolutely are. We worked it out. Okay, we worked it out. Um, I miss chatting about the books. Me too. Me too. Like I always like I would drag my feet to do this every month, but then once I'm here, I always have such a good time. I I don't know why I ever drag my feet on talking. It is like literally one of my favorite things to do. And
Well, if
so,
you want to talk more, you should start a podcast. Just saying. Then you could talk all the
you
time.
know, we might be coming back to that podcast thing. We really, really might. Like I had started it during the pandemic and then I fell off because I had too much, going on. But we really might be coming back to that. And with that, before I get any more questions about that, we're gonna leave. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I always have an amazing time talking to y'all. And like I said, like maybe I'll do like a poll or something on Patreon so you guys can vote on what. Well, okay, first we'll do a post where you can suggest what you might want us to talk about, and then of course we'll remove the ones that we've already talked about, and then we'll do a vote on which book we want to be book of the month for February. I like the sound of that. Have we talked about relationship goals though? Because did we do one about relationship
We
goals?
did, I think. I have a list
Yeah, I think
here.
we did
Just
relationship
yes,
goals.
yeah, we did. I'm gonna
Because
pull
that
up
would
the
have
whole
been
list
very
here. You know
cute
what?
for Valentine's Day.
I, I'll tell y'all what books we have talked about, just so you are
Okay.
aware in advance. Okay, Love and Other Things was the first book that we have
Yeah.
talked about. So we did Eternally Tethered, but mainly focused on Haunted and Coveted. I don't think we did one for Restored. We
Yeah, that wasn't
did
out yet, I don't think.
Yeah. I think it was like right before it came out. So we did Ante Up, we did Behind the
Hmm.
Scenes, we did The Culmination of Everything, we did The
Hmm.
Truth, Crazy Little Thing, Equivalent Exchange, Anonymous Acts, Relationship Goals, and The Lies. There is one that we had scheduled that we never actually did because you decided that now was the time to be pregnant. We
We should
didn't
probably go
do
back to that one.
Inevitable Conclusions. We didn't end up doing that one.
Yo, that would have been a good one.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll put up the post. We'll put up the post for you guys to vote, or for you guys to do suggestions, and then we'll vote and everything from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll work it out. But all right, again, thank you guys so much for coming out and chatting with me. I love y'all, and y'all have a good night and happy not happy Sunday. I guess. Well, yes, well, it's almost over.
Yes.
Good luck this week. Bye.
Bye.